He's got a lamp there, man.
Yeah.
Yes, and I know exactly what's wrong with this.
Coffee.
It has a bad diode. And so the power to the LED works half the time. Which means this
As long as it works in the dark.
It's a purposeful dimmer.
As long as it works in the dark and not in
It
the
flashes.
this is a stop motion.
It's a strobe.
It's a strobe. It flashes at 60 hertz.
Actually, 120.
I'll plug it in.
Walk in
I'll
front
plug
of
it
like
in and
this.
start getting my seizures.
Yes, exactly. But it, other than that, it's a
Yeah, you're right.
It's 120.
Okay.
Because the photons
mean
don't know
to-
whether you're
to
going one way
Steal
or the
this
other.
Or the other way, yeah.
So I can set this up here and everybody can look at it later.
Or you could just like spread it all out like
Or I can
Halloween
just
candy.
spread it all
We have time. Go for it. What kind of magic stuff do you have?
I have
We are in the hanging time.
a digital scale
Oh yeah, that's for
For the
Fishies.
suitcases.
luggage.
Travel
luggage. Yeah,
Luggage.
Luggage.
you use that to make sure your
Yeah,
luggage
you're gonna hang
is
the cat on there
under.
and like wait.
Yeah.
I'd probably break it.
Mimi would be good.
Okay, I have a
50 pounds.
portable DVD player, no backlight.
Ah,
Everything.
That could be made into something.
Yes, I'm thinking that these people could be
Mm-hmm.
capable of doing that.
I'm thinking that if I bring any more junk home, I'm in so much trouble. It's not fun.
Yes, I understand. Okay.
I still have to clean out the
Weight
RV.
on there?
You can go after 11 or something.
It works.
9.
Telephone cord?
Just
Hey,
like
we'll pass them around.
She
Pass them around.
never noticed. There's one more thing. She'll never notice.
That encourages them to say something.
your wife
I'm not even looking.
stop to say, I'm putting away this.
Correct.
I'm cleaning.
I'm cleaning it.
Yeah, I've got a few laundry bags full of that.
Oh, this is gonna cause some trouble.
Yeah,
I got a
RTA.
collection of
I got
those.
plenty of those. It's ridiculous.
Certainly don't need.
You have to organize it.
Oh,
You want us to
No.
pass it that way? So you
No.
first
That's fine.
figure a lot of it'll make
He
it
might
around,
have
right?
that
got-
anything.
This is
Stuff it in here.
this is not battery operated.
That's a tape.
Tape.
oh, a tape thing.
And I figured out I do not need 6 of these.
No, 5 is enough.
5 is more than enough.
Okay. No, pass it this way.
That's
Don't let Mike see it.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it.
A long Ethernet cord.
And I'll just hold these up and everybody can.
Oh, a router.
Oh, yeah. Is that gonna make it by the I don't know.
Routers may not make it by Leroy.
Pass them.
Like I said, this is
Oh,
router.
that looks like a new one there.
That one looks.
And this one's a fairly new one, and this switch is
That's a
not-
switch. Yeah.
This is a switch, but I can't use it on my system. It will not read,
Really?
really. So I ended up having to buy another one that was not 100 but 1,000.
Oh, so you're
Oh,
okay.
gig? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, gig.
that makes sense. It's an older switch.
And this is for all those iPhone people.
I think I'm
That's not me. I'm not an iPhone people.
Any
I
iPhone
don't need
people?
that.
I have a.
iPhone.
No, I don't think it meets the
You have an iPhone?
cheapo criteria.
I don't know what I would do with it.
I use. I've got one of those.
You can have that. That's all you. You need that.
Oh, luggage scale?
Yeah.
I can use.
All these wires just sort of piled up in front of my Sunday.
At this point in my life, I know when
It's
when
an
I'm
MP3.
overweight if I can't lift the suitcase.
I
Does this get moved?
I weigh on the way out and don't weigh on the
No,
way
he
in.
can't
So
do
hopefully,
that. Yeah.
hopefully, I always tell my wife, I
I
luggage
think
should be
you want
lighter
to
coming
pass
back
around.
because after you use all the,
That's
and that well, within reason. If you go buying stuff, that's another story. You have to buy another bag and put that on. But if you go out with your toothpaste, you go out with your shampoo, all that should be less when you come back. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't even do that anymore. I've got all my toiletries in Milford.
want.
I got
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah.
my toiletries in Fremont.
So you have your
And
inventory.
I figure I don't need them on the plane.
That's right.
Yeah, 'cause it
So,
made something else out of a little computer. I don't wanna-
Yeah, you MacGyvered something out of stuff like that.
That's from a cable modem.
Some of these are pretty nice.
But do you have any Bluetooth around?
Yeah.
You don't need any of this stuff. Here, that's you. You need that.
Speed stream.
Is this a pretty good router? Cause
Being Santa Claus there.
That's actually it's a cable router for like Time Warner.
Time Warner. I've got Cincinnati Bell. So this only works with certain providers, correct? Probably.
What are you looking for? Are you looking for Ethernet or
Now here's
phone?
a
Oh, just a
micro
long
USB
3-lead.
to phono jack.
Small diameter.
You got RCA.
Are you Ethernet cable?
no, it's not. It's
So I'm gonna cut the ends off.
Oh, okay.
It's
You use that, can't you?
probably RJ11s.
I don't have
would
the
imagine, right?
camera that would go to.
And if he
I'm just
comes
gonna hook
back
up,
in next week, I'll beat up with
Temperature sensor
I
on the
don't
end
know
of
what
it.
camera that
No,
would
we
go
got a whole
to.
food.
Okay, so you just want a connector.
Yeah.
I had to
So my
leave early
fireplace
today because I had
doesn't have a blower,
this is
so I got a temperature sensor magnetized and sticks onto the grid on the
I
front.
use for my basic
And
computer.
I've got it run over to a wicker
Yeah.
basket with
You found
Arduino and a
something.
fan
Oh, okay. You turn it on.
with a small little
Good.
clear plastic blower.
Keep it going, keep it moving.
So when the temperature
this
gets up,
router,
the
you
fan
have to
kicks
use a
on.
certain-
When
There's
the
a
fireplace
pile
goes
up
off, it turns the fan
Right
off.
past Leroy there.
It somehow or another.
Yeah.
I keep trying to get it to go further, but
Vincente's not playing.
This cable goes there.
Yeah.
Oh, he's keeping all that.
I bet everything.
Yeah.
that's what this is, right? Poker.
Yeah.
I'll bet a trend net.
Mine's a Zytel.
Everybody's trying to push it away from them. It's like, okay, if I leave it here too long, I'll figure out once I'll take something.
I already had a hard enough time walking in with all the stuff that I've already carried. I don't need to walk out with more stuff, and I'm going to walk out with more
I really
stuff.
need to get an extender because it dies.
Routers
when
are
the signal is really weak.
they're like my kryptonite. I have to have them. I don't know why. I don't know why I need them.
20 to 30 bucks, aren't they? As extenders.
You got room in your storage locker now, right?
I still need to get that cleaned out.
Yeah, I pulled up behind your car and I noticed below your rearview mirrors a
I'm
little
full.
screen still illuminating.
Yeah.
I will throw
That's
this
your-
by myself.
Dash cam.
Oh, okay, so if somebody bumps you, it'll.
We'll take care of this.
Well, it's actually recording now. I rarely turn it off.
Okay.
There's a
It doesn't
nice
really
pink
take much power to run it.
flamboyant
So
bag.
you got a picture of me coming up and looking in your windows.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's probably on probably three
Actually,
maybe
you
4
bought a
hour
router,
cycle,
and I
so
got one of
it
those routers that
recycles
runs
the
4
thing.
antennas, and I took it.
Got a little LED light.
Brought in 3 months ago.
Yeah. If I really needed a project to work on, that would be a good one to work on.
This is a bio.
I have plenty of.
You can change this for an alligator and use it for
Yeah,
soldering.
I'll use this light
For
one.
soldering stuff.
It's not a bad
And I
idea.
got my own son.
Yeah. That's right. Not a bad idea. You do it.
You do it.
I like your idea.
That's right.
It's not a bad idea.
That's an excellent idea. Here.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Nice gooseneck. Yeah, it is. I see what you got.
It's a clamp on.
So is this your latest version of the library?
Of the code, yeah.
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 Ain't cold enough here for you yet, huh?
Yeah, what are you doing back here?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
off
40
school,
degrees.
so I show up when I'm off school.
Your wife come back with you? She's like, no, see you later. It's cold.
No,
back
she's
here.
actually been back twice. This is her third time this year.
Give me the keys to your joint. I'll go hang out there. Keep it safe for you.
And she's
If I knew what camera that went to, that's probably a useful cord.
I think I have this one.
she came back in
Is
the
your
fall
son back in
to
the UK?
Yeah.
receive some
yesterday.
furniture that we
I
had
left in the
reupholstered.
That is the same router that we've got at home from Time Warner.
Really?
Yes, it's the same one I have.
Yep. That's the same one.
They still support it?
Yeah. It's the one that they.
It's the one they use now. Oh,
Is it the
okay.
one they're charging $5 or
It's
$10
not
a month for,
Spectrum.
and you could use
Yeah.
that one instead?
Where did that come from? Just curious.
I have no idea.
So
Well,
my
you're asking, yeah.
my guess is it probably is a Time Warner one that somebody didn't return, and when you try to activate it, they're going to charge you a fortune for it.
Ah.
Do you guys know anything about darts?
You're talking about
Yeah.
the dart game?
The game of darts, because on Central Avenue there's a barbecue called Combs Barbecue, and next door they're going to have a dart palace. They got
Like a little
clubs.
sports bar, yeah.
Yeah, and you can go in and you can play darts globally with anyone in the world because it's hooked into the internet. I never heard of such a
Oh,
thing.
it's probably an electronic dartboard
Oh, yeah, for
too.
sure.
Yeah.
That's not the real cork and.
Or bristle.
Isn't dart? Wasn't that invented by the British?
So-
Darts?
Don't know who it was invented by.
I
So
think
it's-
it's the British.
So what I know about darts is
actually
you
Scottish.
take your dart and you aim for the 20, and wherever it actually ends up, that's where you actually end, and you'll end up paying the 20. That's
1080. If
So-
you
This
three.
is
you-
the
you
Navy
take- you
version,
take-
is it?
no. I saw this on. I don't remember what it was on TV not too long ago, but they were telling how to always win at darts. And you take you don't play with anybody. You go down and you throw your darts at you try to aim for the 20 spot, and wherever the dart actually ends up, that's where you want to aim for, and it'll end up into the 20 spot.
I think someone's been smoking some weed.
Well,
Well,
they were
that's
showing
what
people.
I-
They
he's
were
been
showing
saying
people
some
doing
weird
it.
stuff.
So
Like this week, he was saying that little Ames distance thing that I had last week. He said there's a motor in that thing.
there is a motor. Did you see the picture? There's a motor in that sucker.
Kid.
How's the dart? Is there like are you zen with the dartboard or something?
It's something about it. It's how the math works,
Okay.
and it's all about angles. Everything's about an angle. So if you're aiming for one thing, and you're actually hitting it somewhere else, then your angle is off. So you aim in
I can
another spot,
understand if
and
you
the
were
angle.
wall-eyed or something like that.
That theory takes a lot for granted, don't it? It's like who's throwing the darts, you know.
How much beer has
Yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Right hand or left hand.
It's a game of angles. That's all I know. It's still all about the angles.
Well, it was big in the mid '80s, and then it
The last
kinda-
week we
there's
saw a guy
these
that put a
hardcore
box
dart
in
players,
the,
and there's
the
a
front
number of
door
clubs in Dayton and
that
Cincinnati.
automatically
So they-
throw away.
They picked
He
Middletown
also
'cause
designed
it's in between.
a target, a moving target for
All play each
darts.
other.
Yeah,
Always
always
in the
hit it.
center.
Yep.
They
I used
moved
to play in the
the
league
target.
back in the 80s.
I think it has its roots in Britain or UK.
I thought darts was an Irish game.
Well, you could. It's
Could
a good
be
drinking
Irish.
game.
I thought
If
it
you
was
can't do
Scottish,
this,
but
you
Irish.
would drink and.
But Google
The
it,
game
will tell you
may
it's a
be
Chinese
British, but
game.
the
It's a
bar is-
Chinese game.
They invented it.
The bar is what do you say the last where the place of the darts, the origin.
Do what?
This place, Combs, has really good barbecue.
Ireland?
Ireland.
Pretty good.
Okay, maybe
And they're gonna have
the
a
game is
door in
British, but
between the two.
the bar is from Ireland.
Ireland.
The dark, so they'll be able to order their food from Combs because they're not going to do food, but they'll do drinks.
Where's
It's on Central Avenue in Middletown.
Yeah, it's,
Down near kind of where Stefano's used to be in that area.
Oh, okay.
in that area, but it's like it's a house
Oh,
type of place. You
I
know?
know
It's on-
exactly where it is. I was thinking downtown.
Rumor has it that Molly Malone's is open again.
Oh,
Well, I drive past there all the time. I didn't see it open, but I could tell they were working on it.
Now,
And they got a fence where the old building was, blocking off the front so you don't walk into the hole.
oh, that was the coffee shop that was next
Yeah,
door.
Pleasant Ridge.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that it's open, but I could tell they were working on
I take it nobody here has been there since the fire.
it. No, I have not. We used to meet there. The Lennox Club met there before they moved to the library in Norwood. We just go across the street to Gordo's for hamburgers afterward.
I learned my $8 smart switches, Wi-Fi switches, support audio now.
Oh,
So
really?
Yeah.
Who makes this now?
These are really just generic. You get the ones that are compatible with Google Play and Amazon, and you get the Tuya software. Kenny bought some, they're generic, and downloaded my Tuya software, and it's the same thing. It finds them and away you go. They're actually listed in the meeting announcements.
you're taking all of it.
I didn't see it.
It's taken off in the news
Leroy.
and the
Oh, okay.
it's the second and third item in the list now.
I
think.
got the couple of things that I thought I wanted. Somebody else needs that stuff. Seriously, I will get in trouble if I bring more stuff home. I think I can sniff this in. Maybe.
And you have to put it in with your other stuff and leave it in your trunk and take it in a little at a
I'd
time.
go in
Uh-oh,
first
it's
and
being
unload
from a
any
woman that
weapons.
knows, see?
That's how you do
That's
it.
how my wife does the clothes. I'm like, you don't need another pair of black shoes.
You're not a Mel Lamarcos.
Yeah, yes, maybe
She had
maybe
5,000 pairs of
I-
shoes or something like that.
I still have an entire RV to clean out that
What you do is throw it in the RV and pretend you already have it.
That's right. This whole thing.
I had this for
I have
ages.
this forever.
that's it. Hey, I'm going to go clean out the RV.
Add some fuel.
Saturday.
Wow.
Hey, look what I found! And look, it's all nice and bagged up.
I'm taking stuff, unloading the RV. That's it.
Yeah, that'd give you, hey, look what you can find when you start cleaning
You had a
stuff
space
out.
in your
I forgot about
trunk.
this.
Yeah,
Still.
barely. There's barely room in that car.
Okay, it's pretty much a regular group. I'm Jim.
Marcus.
Hard.
Mike?
Leroy.
Vicente.
Mike,
Mike.
Scale.
3 mics.
Anything
He said
special
there
were
anything
three
going
mics
on? I did the Tuya software with the Wi-Fi connector things. Anybody have anything else? Nothing interesting that you've been into?
I've been using these TP-Link switches
I'd use them too.
using Casa, and I can either use Python or I can directly connect to them from my Linux, you name it, workstations, whatever. It's very handy because I can, from one house to the other house, I can basically turn switches on and off and so forth.
that's
and so
cool.
on. And this turns out to be a real good deal for me, because periodically I find that something on my network needs to be rebooted. So if I have that device plugged into one of these little switches, I can toggle it off, wait 5 minutes, toggle it back on. Voila, it connects again.
Or could you use the hockey pucks for the same thing? The Wi-Fi hockey pucks?
Yeah, I suppose I could.
And they have the timer, and now you can talk to them.
Well, the little Casa things can too. The TP links, you can program them using either Python or direct connection. Recompile the software basically. So I find it very useful.
Cool.
And it's interesting. It's the classic story. What's the first thing you do when something doesn't work? You reboot it.
Yeah.
Okay, you reboot it. And if a soft reboot doesn't work, a hard reboot generally does. And I find it very convenient to do that.
So you can, from California or wherever, just
Any place I can get an internet
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, my router is on a timer, and a lot of the cameras will self-boot. The router reboots.
So you have a timer on the router,
Yep.
or sitting in the power line to the router,
Yep.
I guess.
Yep.
And you reboot that.
Now that's a timer. It's not a Wi-Fi device. I found out it's not good to reboot your router from a switch.
Well, no, but
Found out the hard way,
So-
huh?
Yeah.
it reboots.
And they wait for a Wi-Fi size signal.
Does it
after
wait
it's
and
on.
pause for a while before it refires? Or is
A
it
minute. It's a timer.
just, okay.
Well, one of the old school with the little pins in it?
No, it's the little. They got the little $6 or $7, $8 timers now
Yeah.
that have the
And you
digital set.
turn off for 5 minutes or something. Is the minimum?
Turns off for whatever, 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever you want. You set the time.
every day or
You can set it for every day, or you can set it for a particular day of the week.
How
These are-
often do you
so
do
weekly.
it? Do you reboot your router?
Every day.
Okay, so once every 24 you reboot the router.
Yeah.
why?
Or you can pick a day.
Why I do it when I need it. But sometimes
Yeah,
when
sometimes
I'm off,
I got a bunch of cameras.
it's-
I got
it's-
a
it's
big
better. And
load.
all of them connected.
And I got
automatically.
hubs and all that stuff, and I also got a repeater and that stuff. Particularly if one drops off this one and picks up on another one,
Yeah.
eventually it will get messed up. So probably once a week would be fine, but I say I'll go ahead and kill them once a day. And I reboot some of the cameras too. I reboot the extender has its own cycle.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, you want to keep them out of sync from one another, so that you're not rebooting two things at the same time.
Yeah. A lot of my cameras have the chips built in, so as long as they got power, we're good. And some of them, they're on my UPS, so everything doesn't ever go.
Mm-hmm.
You got iSpy, which records everything, and then some of the cameras have. Well, just about all the cameras now have chips on them, so you got that going too.
what does the SUV look like?
The link to that is on the newsletter also.
Did you
Interesting.
see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in production? That's not in
For
production
home?
yet.
I guess they're making a few, but
Oh, okay.
What country is
What-
that?
what-
India?
no, that's here. That's California.
San Jose and Irvine, California.
Is that a new manufacturer? Or?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Well,
supposed to be out in.
Tesla.
That picture
Tesla
is
is
painted
working
on
in,
a background, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be out in 2020. They've got.
What's the battery supply on them? Lithium ion or nickel metal hydride?
400 miles.
Yeah. Let's see where the.
I didn't.
With an asterisk.
They weren't
Yeah.
selling the technical aspects. They're
If
just
you're rolling
selling
downhill.
With a wind behind.
Right. With the wind to your tail, yeah.
There's a video on
Not in
Tesla's
Colorado,
battery
up and down the
arc
mountains. It won't
and
go
the
around
chemical mix
400
they're
miles.
using, and why they use the chemical mix. They're reducing the cobalt out of the battery as generations and new generations come out.
My dad sent me info about this thing now. I guess he wants to get one.
When I first started the company, it was just myself and a few other people. We actually plastered on the wall a statement that said, "We're building this car because it does not exist."
It's not a car, it's a truck.
The challenge and the beauty of a clean sheet is you can do things the right way without worrying about the legacy of the
Person
past,
following the car?
but still leverage and learn from what's been done before.
That's looks, isn't that weird?
Sure looks like
That's
it.
I know.
He's done with the darts. You throw at the hand.
They have a variety of battery options depending on what you're doing. You can do the heavy load one, get less distance.
We've intentionally
I think this video shows the chassis, the frame. Did you watch this video, Jim?
I watched the video that was linked to it.
Alright guys,
This thing looks like it's
we're a full
handmade.
house. So I wanted to start with a discussion around why we're here. Why does Rivian exist? Why are all you sitting here today, and why are all of you sitting on the screens in Irvine, at the plant, in the UK, in San Jose? The reason these vehicles are coming together is because of all the hard work of everybody here. You know, we've all made big sacrifices to be here. We've left other jobs, we're working long hours, we're working weekends, but really the core is why we're here. And the reason we're here is we want to build something better. We want to make the world a better place.
What I'm responsible for are the battery algorithms and the battery management system. We call it the BMS. Each module within the pack contains one of these circuit boards. This is a picture of Arches National Park. It's my favorite place. Definitely looking forward to taking a Rivian vehicle out there at some point soon.
Lip sync is not so good on
the
this
San
video.
Diego Mountains above Pasadena, and it was a beautiful night, and I looked over LA and saw smog.
Yes.
And at that moment it clicked that
It's
I
missed.
Home sweet home.
It's
do
missed.
have
No. I'm in Northern
Missed.
California, not Southern California. We're two different countries.
So art.
Or they could be if we just
Yeah,
separate.
right, to
After a while, I
States,
realized
right.
that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do to deliver something back to the world and make
So
it a
they're
better
building
place.
them in
That's
San
what
Jose
we do
and
here.
the
When I
office
look
is
at
in
what car I
Pasadena?
want
I
to
guess.
buy, I
Irvine.
can never find
Irvine.
exactly what it is I want. Actually, the car I want is the one that we're building.
I think the sync is a problem with the internet, not a
Yeah,
problem
Really
because it was
really the
playing
heartbeat of the
just fine
company.
at the
There's
house.
the passion to create something that's not in the world today.
I'm designing a product that I want one day to drive around and take me to those adventures.
But that is
Cool.
very annoying.
You have this A-line that
Definitely
carries
is.
through and it falls into the headlamp and picks back up in the fascia.
They're showing you the glitter. This is
Yeah.
glitter. Now we're getting batteries. There we go.
The guts.
I think this is the video that shows the front.
performs by the sports car,
does well off-road,
New one, the big
and has a
big
range
one.
of a gas vehicle. How cool is that, right? So basically, this is where all the autonomous driving is going to happen, integrating many different types of
Autonomous
sensors,
hairpin turn
ultrasonic,
on a
radar,
mountain.
lidar,
Uh-oh, it's
camera,
The edge
disgusting.
of a mountain.
electronics, mobility in many
Yeah,
ways.
where are they? I didn't see them driving down the street.
There's a big paradigm that's shifted
Let me
that
know when you see
electric
one
cars
back
are not
then.
fun, electric cars are not
Oh
capable.
yeah, let's hit that boulder.
Absolutely false.
But another thing that we've learned along the way that was really important was that this
That's
hero
interesting.
process where
All
you,
trucks should have that.
time and you get ready to go was so critical to everything you do. So we designed this had it seated height specifically for that reason.
I think it's breaking
Yeah,
people's
okay.
expectations of what
Because
electric
this is
vehicles
for
can do.
to wait for
They can go
the
off-road.
tow truck.
Wait for that.
One motor per wheel. On top of it, we also have like 400 miles plus range. This is mind-blowing range. Yeah, it's badass.
Only cost $150,000.
Oh, 60, 61.
I thought it was 180.
It says 61. I saw on the
Oh.
original.
Yeah, right.
That's the base package. If you want any frills, it goes up.
That's what I feel.
want
You
batteries.
Yeah.
Do like the thing and the
Battery's not included.
filling it. You can see we did some laser
Oh,
etching.
my
In fact,
God.
here, I feel like I am in the forest.
No, you don't. You feel like you're in a car.
Yeah. Surrounded by luxury.
The entire interface is one infinite plane to the left or right with one visible space
They
in
got
the
a big
middle.
screen.
Applications
Yeah,
are
I
here.
like the Tesla.
They gotta have Matthew McConaughey all
Expand
jazzed
each
up in
application
the
full
commercial.
screen or down to its
Two
native
screens,
state.
actually.
He just does the
Off-road maps.
Navigator.
He sounds like, what is it?
You buy this Lincoln Navigator, you're gonna be
Yeah.
Matthew
Satellite
McConaughey.
imagery, etc. So you have a very good idea spatially where you are.
The Lincoln, yeah, I think that's Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
Lincoln.
I think my dad
Yeah,
wants
Lincoln,
one
yeah,
of
it's
these.
a Lincoln, yeah.
What's the prize? What's the prize?
It's a really proud moment. It's cool for me to be able to see this come together.
We're receiving the first incarnation of the vehicle body made into a skateboard of ours.
It's about $35.
It's like
I heard.
seeing your baby
Yeah, I
for the
think
first
so.
time. We have been working on this baby for like a long time.
It's really, this is our one chance to come out. First impressions matter.
Saturn started.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal.
That lasted a long time.
About 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
His
It's gonna be
room
covered in
was
mud,
supposed to be
and that's the
something.
goal. Here, let's get this thing dirty.
I guess the world's gonna know, for real. It wasn't just all talk.
Monumental, I think, is the word that comes to mind. To finally be able to show everyone what we've been working on.
That's really cool.
To me, we're halfway up the mountain right now. We're not at the top. We don't have time right now to really rejoice over how much progress we've made, because if we lose our attention for a second, we can still fall off the side. We still have half a climb left.
They're not showing the technical
No,
side.
it's all fluff.
Yeah, it's fluff.
Guys,
They're
man,
fluffing
look
this
at
stuff.
you guys
cotton
on the
candy, it's the-
technology, guys. Man, you're so skeptics, man.
We are.
What's the
insulting.
price on it?
It's
I didn't see. Where did you see a price at?
go back. If you go to the, it was on that. Yeah.
Oh,
To be determined.
Starting
No. It was there. There.
61.
Yeah, 60. Yeah.
Starting price,
yeah,
no
stop.
batteries, no hubcaps. Yeah.
After
No
federal
batteries.
That's
rebate.
probably the,
Batteries not included.
After
It's
federal
real, I'm
rebate,
just
so
being
what
real
we
here.
get.
that's probably what, the 250 mile range one.
I'm thinking 5 mile. Right?
I don't know. I'm still going for those magnets you put on the fuel
when you
line and
started
get
new
100 miles.
projects.
Yeah, I remember that. Those magnets.
Does Gail say
It
it's
realized the molecules in the fuel.
Yes.
I just commenting on how
Instantaneously
they're
as it
presenting
flows
the
through
product.
the fuel pump
This is
into the line.
presented to a knucklehead.
Well, that's right. They didn't say they were going to send it to the automation club.
That's the SUV. That's
And
what the
then
SUV
here it is
looks
out
like.
in the picture out in the
How much
woods.
is the
I don't give a
SUV
crap.
cost?
You don't
I don't
care
know.
if
It's
out
probably
there.
the same.
Well, they showed a Cherokee out in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Or pulling up a mountain.
Same order buffalo. Cherokee, that thing. I don't.
Oh,
They
man,
said
you guys- you're killing me, man.
one of the 65. The SUV is more expensive. One of the videos I saw said that they're using the same frame for both of them. It's just
Oh, yeah.
They said a rebate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes
Tax
sense. You
rebate.
gotta,
yeah.
that's a lot of money, though.
Wonder what kind of federal rebate they're giving.
That's a lot.
That's after the rebate.
Well, after
That's-
the government goes back to work, you might be able to get one.
That's still out of my price range. So.
Chevy's discontinuing the Volt. Why? Well, maybe it was priced out of his market.
How much did the Volt? It wasn't as fancy as this, but
Wasn't it start out at 35?
Yeah,
It was reasonable.
some 30.
Yeah, that's actually reasonable.
That's reasonable.
Well, I mean, for electric
It's
car,
a
I mean,
smaller
considering
car,
that,
too, than that.
considering a Tesla was, $100,000.
Yeah, one of the videos that I saw said that's why this company wanted to do something, because Tesla's so expensive. They
Since they're
wanted to be something
headquartered
that
in
was.
Plymouth, Michigan,
That's interesting, huh?
but they've got plants in San Jose.
Yeah, the one I saw said something about
United
over
Kingdom,
in California.
Normal, Illinois.
And Tesla's target is like 500,000 production runs
All the new ones, yeah.
a year.
on the new car, yeah.
They're
Talking
still
about
behind
the
that.
three.
Okay.
They're running behind their estimates.
But if you 500,000 a lot, if you only make 300,
Yeah.
that's a lot of cars, Jack.
You know, the interesting thing about this is one of the things they talk about now in this new age is that these people probably never made a car. You know, a few of them have some experience in the car world. So it's people, as opposed to the big three, as they call them, making electric cars. You got startups like Tesla, startups like that coming into just like, you know, you have these like locks. You know, you have locks. You have, you know, Microsoft is making, not Microsoft, but Google is doing, like, they bought Nest. So it's companies that were, in the olden days, you know, like Slade was doing all the locks. You know, you had a Master doing all the locks. Now you have other companies doing locks that.
Isn't there a company here in Cincinnati doing electric cars?
It's
Over in Blue Ash or?
no, it's what are they doing here? I know the it's like a big company doing like drones and stuff. Yeah, I've heard.
I thought there was a car, alternate fuel car.
Yeah,
company
I haven't heard of
in
it. It is.
Cincinnati.
I think it's that drone copper place and they just fly low.
That's right.
China is
They haven't been able to
making,
get it off the ground yet.
Yeah, we'll just call it car.
I know there's a drone
That's right.
company here, but I
The
think
goal was
there's
a
car.
drone, but they can't get it off the ground.
This is a bad time to be starting up a company like that with gas at $1.95 a barrel
I got it
in
at
the United
$1.71
States.
Costco
Maybe
the other
not
day.
in California, but in the United States, it's, you know, you can buy gas cheap, and the cars are a lot cheaper. They're still a lot cheaper. They got to compete.
Yeah.
Starting at 60 is.
Well, and both ends of that work, because if the economy goes down, there's less demand for fuel.
Rule, yeah.
So the fuel prices go down, there's less incentive to buy an efficient electric vehicle. And so these people are doomed from both ends. There's nobody to buy the car because the economy is down, and there's no incentive for anybody to buy them because.
But the crazies are buying the Teslas. I
That's
see
right.
the Teslas.
That's right. The Teslas is all down there. They're back ordered.
Yeah.
They're back ordered.
There's a certain percentage of the market they're going to buy this stuff.
How much is
You
a
told us
Tesla?
about that last.
Well, the newer ones are
Opto.
I want to say
But
40
they,
to 50.
same
Yeah.
company
I
does
think it's,
that.
yeah,
They also
50,
make
maybe
big
50.
vans
Yeah,
for
they
UPS.
they
That
come in
was-
a lot lower. I mean, the
I
originals.
can hear that.
Yeah, the originals was. I mean, those were-
China is planning to
Okay.
produce 3 times more batteries than the rest of the world.
Right.
And they actually are selling maybe 3 times more electrical vehicles than all the companies in USA.
Well, you know, Tesla.
Workhorse.
They built their own battery plant.
Yeah, but the
Oh, I
own
know.
battery is
Yeah, I know.
Panasonic.
Right.
Panasonic, Tesla
Employees.
Association.
Yeah, so originally they were
Mark
just
came up with
assembling
another electric car.
Panasonic cartridges
Well,
into
that's the one
packs.
in Cincinnati.
This is
Now
the one
they're
in
starting to
Cincinnati.
manufacture.
They,
I
the-
thought
they,
there was
they
one here.
redesigned the size of the battery. I think they created
How much
There's a
does
new
that
one now.
cost?
a little
It's
bigger.
no longer lithium ion. There's a new one, but that's a nickel metal hydride or something of that sort. But the lithium ions are still the, what is the 18650?
1860 something.
And the 2170s are the new ones.
The new one is 2170 or something.
Is it over in Blue Ash?
21.
But their products are cobalt,
Lava.
and I think it's aluminum's in there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a completely
Oh,
different
it's
chemistry.
only 80
from
mile
lithium
range?
ion.
Yeah.
The big car companies has a problem to go into the
Well, that other
electric
car was
market
400 miles.
because
Oh,
they
yeah.
know that the battery cost will get down
They got some work to do.
the next 5 years. And
I don't-
they will
I don't
lose
see a
money
price.
if they go now into the market
Did you
because
see
the
a
new
price?
ones will use the lower cost batteries.
Yeah.
For some people, 80 miles.
I'm not
is
signing up to
good,
find out what
you
the
know,
price
but
is.
I'd rather have 400.
That's a
Yeah.
second car.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
that's
in
scary.
cellular phone
Staying around
technology.
town, driving to
The
Dayton.
first player use a lot of expensive stations for the
I'm
cellular
just
battery,
curious to see
and
what
the last
price
one
is
just
relative
put
to-
a very low cost stations to do the same service. You know,
Right.
something like that will happen with the cars. electric
Sure.
cars.
Sure, yeah.
And the first ones in the market pay the engineering costs. It's always been that way. And they can sell the Teslas for 50,000 up.
Because on my car, full gallon, I'll probably go 300 miles. This is only 80 miles.
Take the word price
Yes.
after that other.
That
And everybody
workhorse
and his brother's
at a
turning out
city.
electric car nowadays.
52.
Well, can you get a Nissan Leaf?
52,000.
What's that?
Nissan Leaf?
Oh,
Those things are under 9,000.
really?
Used, yeah. But
So
nobody
for
wants them.
52,000,
That looks more like a conventional
miles,
truck,
that
too.
62, another 10 grand. You're
But-
look like a transformer to me.
But only 80 miles. That's pretty crappy. Yeah.
And downhill.
yeah.
I could drive 80 miles just without even thinking.
That's scary. That's kind of scary.
How long?
Well, they're getting there. Yeah, and for some markets, it's
Yeah, every
fine.
year you got to buy new batteries.
It's all a
for
function of
thousands
where you
dollars.
live. If you live in a highly urbanized area,
Oh,
80
look at that.
miles
There it
is
is,
for a long
18650.
time. Yep, lithium-ion batteries.
I'll just pop
All
those out
those,
and pop in
all
my
those
crappy
18650 holders that Ray bought at the flea market.
I saw a thing on the Volt. The guy took the motor and the transmission. It's more of a universal than a transmission because you don't need a transmission that much of one.
Yeah, each
And
wheel
it's
has
all built in
Yeah,
one
it's
unit.
all-
motor.
But this isn't pure electric. It's got a combustion engine,
Oh, okay.
so it's a hybrid.
Okay. Wait, shoot,
It's like the Volt then. It runs on electric but recharges. You can recharge it with the battery.
Well, who knows? I don't know.
It says it has 2 electric motors, but it has a gasoline engine to, let's see.
Extender.
Has a range extender to feed the 230 horsepower, 172 kilowatt electric motors, one at each axle powers the vehicle.
So it's a Volt. It's a range extender. No, it won't run off the motor, which is fine. It's just that variation. They're discontinuing the Volt. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, this has a plug-in hybrid. Well, think about the Volt. The GM has the Bolt with a B, right? So I mean, I was thinking about buying a Bolt last year, but I figured they'd discontinue it when they went to the Bolt.
The Bolt is the EV only, electric vehicle only.
I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think that's the case. It's about
the sale of cars
36,000.
in
I
China.
don't know
The cost
how
of
they.
a license plate.
But most of those are sold in
4,000
California
and the
or
cost
the
of
East
electric vehicle
Coast.
plate.
They're not
So
concentrated
And
here.
they're going to pay
Makes a
for.
difference.
That's where a lot of the development's going to be. The California
don't-
junkies,
Yeah.
where the
they
LA
don't
is going to be all electric
plates
someday,
for
right?
the
What's your gas prices out there
but
north
it's
of
free for
California
the
right now?
For the electric.
Well, when I left,
Interesting.
which is 2 weeks ago, we were in the high $2. So
Or we were like 209 two weeks ago.
270, 280, 290, but
Under 3.
just barely,
Okay.
just barely. But you do something in this part of the country we don't do in California. They have this snapback once a week that occurs in Ohio here. It goes
Yeah, 'cause
down,
the
down,
Midwestern,
down,
yeah.
zap.
Yeah,
down,
we have
down,
more
down,
volatile.
zap.
We have
it
more
happens
volatile.
once a week.
Yeah.
Happens between Wednesday and Thursday every week.
Yeah,
So,
usually they have a Tuesday, Thursday
yeah.
adjustment.
But my dad, he said Midwestern oil prices are more volatile than other
Oil
places.
prices or gasoline?
Gas prices, yeah.
Gas prices.
Yeah.
No, we pay more for gasoline, that's for sure. But everything else is pretty much the same as here. I mean, if I buy
Except
a
for
pair of-
houses.
Pardon?
Except houses. Houses, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
except for
groceries.
houses.
Parking spots go
Utilities.
for as much as a house
Pardon?
goes for
Except for
here.
groceries, housing, and utilities.
parking
it's
No,
the
no,
same.
groceries are identical. If I go to Safeway in California or go to Kroger here, first of all, they have identical product lines. They just have a different label on them, cost exactly the same. And you're buying clothing, same.
Same.
So-
You have to buy that California emissions too on the car, so it jacks the price of the car up
Well,
a little bit.
most of the cars that are manufactured these days meet the California standard,
Okay,
so.
so it's not.
Yeah, I think that
10%
Tags are based on the value of the car or something.
Whereas
10%
before
of
that
US
wasn't the
economy
case.
is in California, so naturally they're going to cater to
The
that.
standards, general standards caught up with California then.
Oh, the U.S. flexed, and they follow California now for the most part, because it's such a big market. You want to make a separate car for California? Some of them do, actually. Some of the, like lawnmowers and stuff, they have a California lawnmower. It's got even worse this year. And Kenny's got a California lawnmower. Every year he's got to rebuild the carburetor. Very fuel efficient, though.
With newer carburetors, you can't rebuild. They're plastic. They're glue.
Yeah,
you just have to throw them away and buy a new
carburetor.
I don't know, my gardener, that's his problem, not mine.
Yeah, well,
I'm
Kenny
sure
is
he
his own
absorbs
gardener.
that, doesn't pass any of the costs on to you.
Pardon?
I'm sure he absorbs all of that and doesn't pass any of
Actually,
the
my
costs
gardener
to you.
in California costs me less than my gardener here.
Is that right?
See, the deal with the lawnmowers and chainsaws and all that, everybody, this is what you need to know. If you have a chainsaw, you don't run gasoline from the gas station. You go down to the marine gas place and buy non-alcohol gas. That's
there's
what
no
you do.
ethanol.
There's no ethanol in there. And the ethanol will gum up these little two-stroke engines like crazy. And it's the same thing with your cars. You can buy ethanol and it's cheaper, but be aware you're going to have to rebuild your engine quicker. It's just a fact. Okay, now you know.
Well, thank you.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't ethanol burn hotter too?
It burns dirtier is all I know.
I heard it burns cleaner and hotter based on the commercials.
And you hear this on ABC or
Yeah.
it must be MSNBC. That's what you're
The petroleum propaganda people.
Yeah.
Well, the main problem with ethanol from my
I've built a
perspective
game.
is it's hard on gaskets.
I've built a game for my
You
Sunday.
know, the gaskets are designed for traditional hexane, heptane, octane gasoline.
It's Stonehenge.
Gasoline. You put alcohol in there, ethyl alcohol in there, and they're not designed to take that.
I'm sure they've adapted somewhat to that, because that originally it would destroy an engine. I mean, you couldn't run it. And so at least now they run. They just realize you got to rebuild the engines.
Stonehenge.
Yeah, as long as I get 400,000 miles out of an engine, I don't care.
Isn't that what the flex fuel on Ford and GM say flex fuel on?
Yeah, it'll burn the other stuff.
The E85.
It's for people who don't have a lot of intelligence. It's really good.
The laser and the
I'm not
You
using
can
the
tell when you
ultrasonic
run
yet.
that low fuel, even if it's your car doesn't. Your mileage is crap.
you're
and it
using
runs
only
like
one
a
nano.
lawnmower.
So now are you going to try and run down
And we're
the?
starving
I think it would run down those because I think the laser would
Yeah,
go
you're
above
using
and
corn, which
This is your own
to grow it and everything wouldn't have been
Stonehenge,
that, gain
right?
that much between. Now they're talking about using algae and switchgrass.
Okay, Leroy, you ready to go?
And edible
No, am I?
You started part of this.
to make ethanol.
We moved on.
Yeah, pass that down. We'll put it back in the box.
I'll take it.
There you go.
Okay. Are we ready for whatever?
Fire at will.
I lost mine.
You're gonna blow those away with your laser?
Yes, I am.
Pew
pew pew.
It'd be like
No, I
Magnificent
don't
Seven.
fly. I only
This
have
is
one.
version 2. Dun dun dun. Okay, so I eliminated one of the nanos. Obviously moved everything around. Putting that down there, I had to jack this up a little bit more so there's an additional spacer put on there. Jim suggested some sort of meter so that you could actually see distance, visually see the distance. that actually ended up causing some issues because the NeoPixel stick is pretty slow, and now it will actually kind of hit stuff. So I tried to compensate for that by if the thing actually errors out, it will back up instead of trying to turn. I also changed the code so that it turns in place instead of backing and turning, which actually seemed to work pretty well.
You got 4-wheel drive?
Nah, it's still really 2-wheel drive.
So you're doing a tank turn?
Yeah, it's kind of a skied turn.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought about doing, but I don't really know yet if I want to or if I'm going to, is if it does actually error out, to switch to the ultrasonic and try to use the ultrasonic to compensate for it a little bit. But so far I'm not real sure if I even want to do that.
Well, the ultrasonic doesn't look like it's connected.
The ultrasonic is not connected.
Okay.
The ultrasonic, it's
Bluetooth ultrasonic connect.
The ultrasonic is there because I was trying to visualize,
You are using it like a bumper.
Right now it's going. If it hits something, it's going
the first thing it hits the wall.
And we're going to watch this mount break because that's what's going to happen.
Is that a servo underneath there?
Yes. So what I found when I was doing this was when it got right up against a wall, I now have it backing up a pretty decent distance and then trying again. But what I found was when it was right up against a wall, if it tried to turn, it was still hitting something. So
you got a radius problem there.
Right. So I thought if I took a couple of ultrasonic readings while it was really close, I could try to figure out, because this doesn't move, this is fixed, but the ultrasonic could read off over here and go, there's nothing over here, I could back up and turn. Or there's nothing over here, I could back up and turn, but I'm not real sure if that's ultimately what I want to do. So I grabbed the camera.
Move this out.
It'll just run them over.
Right.
So is the camera connected?
The camera is not connected, but my thoughts were I could use the app and I could see what it was doing and record it while it was doing it. I played around with it a little at the house. It is kind of fun, but ultimately it doesn't really do anything. We'll turn that on.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't see the
Go coffee.
You can see the laser spot on your shirt, Mike.
Finally stopped.
You're probably not close enough to it.
That's what I was thinking. It might be the height of that.
Looks like the wheels are slipping a little too.
It's turning. It's got coffee for traction. Yeah. It did try to turn. That's
Cool.
a good
The water
idea.
thing is
That
cool.
pivot is a bright idea.
Yeah, you gotta let it error out.
Backup is real close. Okay.
Backup is real close.
But back up a little further out.
So what is the index angle between, when it backs up, like that?
Basically, if it errors out, that means it doesn't get a good reading at all.
No, but what I'm asking is, you're backing up and going to an angle. What's that angle?
When it backs up, it should just back straight.
But then it goes forward at an angle.
Then it goes forward at an angle.
And what is that angle?
I don't really know the angle per se. It's one wheel is turning at its maximum rate and one
Front
wheel
wheel's
is turning.
turning.
Yeah,
You need to put some anti-slip stuff on those wheels.
send that back down
It's
here
not
because
grabbing.
let me change the batteries because it's not. One wheel is
It's not
turning at about
grabbing,
half
it's
its rate, and one wheel's turning, and it's only turning for like 50 milliseconds. So.
Oh, okay.
While it's turning, it's not grabbing.
It's the table. We'll try some different
Come in and
batteries.
put some tacky
It's the same
spray
one.
on the
You still
table.
love that.
Pit stop.
The same one.
Pit stop.
The same one.
Well, then we can just ask
Yeah,
for a different room next week.
Yeah. Put some sandpaper out there.
The one thing that I know about running the laser, at least I think it's the laser, because last week it did the same thing. The laser uses a lot of freaking power.
Well, that's not surprising. What is it? Junction injection laser kind of thing?
A diode, yeah.
Yeah.
Connected with Mike's light bill on the other hand.
How's it like outdoors? Sunlight. Doesn't affect it, or
I've really only played with it outdoors at night, and it seems like it's all right. So this is supposed to be a 100-meter laser, and actually it may actually be a 100-meter laser because I found out that my original code that I was using to test it actually may have an error in how it figures the math out, which I didn't find out until I was doing this project. So all those readings that of great distance may actually have been right. I was just figuring them out wrong.
so you're doing your laser reading and your maneuvering with a nano?
Yep. It's the thing that really slows it down at this point is updating the lights. Let's see if that's any better.
That's all
There we go. That's the way it should be working.
Okay.
Nervous and orbit.
Jeez.
Moving. And see, when it's got decent batteries in it, it actually works the way it should work.
Oh, was that
Oh!
no.
Oh, the laser missed the edge of the.
See that turn?
Yeah, that's one of the problems with the laser is that
It's
it's got
narrow.
a very narrow aperture. So
Yeah.
Bumper.
We lost the ultrasonic somewhere.
The ultrasonic
No,
bumper.
it's
still on there.
It's
Oh.
still on there.
Your
That was
no,
not.
it's off.
My camera flipped over. Okay.
The camera's up pointing to the ceiling now or to the
It's celestial navigation.
Yeah, right.
That's the way it's supposed. That's the way it should work.
Popping wheelies on Vicente's phone.
There it is.
Is your phone okay?
The tracks on it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When we actually have decent batteries, it actually does what it's supposed to do.
Zippy.
How long do the batteries last?
Yay.
Not very long.
And you think
I charged those up yesterday.
So you
And
think
I
it's
played around with
mostly
it.
the laser that's sucking the current?
I think the NeoPixels I know take quite a bit of power as well, but yes, it was sucking power down when I just had the laser on it. And
I was noticing the Tesla batteries, the 18650s, look like they're rated at 5 amp hour
Yeah, it was a 6 one.
per cell.
well, these are supposed to be
6,000. Well, yeah,
Six.
supposed to be the key word here.
But
Says in the fine print.
I did actually upload the code to GitHub. I didn't update the website because I did that like 10 minutes before I walked out the door to come here.
So this has much more that we learned that the turning in place is that's a good change. That's a good adaptation.
Oh yeah.
And putting the ultrasonic on would be an excellent second wave. And we need some way for it to see more because it just sees straight ahead.
I'm not.
Either that or you do multiple lasers, so you've got, three lasers at 15 degrees apart, something like that.
They have
or servo
it's standard
lasers.
from the
Possible.
Depending on how fast it reads.
For the GoPro 3.
Yeah.
Well, the angle of that laser is really tight because when you look at it sitting here,
I got
he's
the last
shining on
one.
his shirt over there. The spot's only about that big around. So
now, some of the lasers they use in carpentry do a horizontal line.
But they've got a flip mirror in front of them. They've got a flip prism in front of them.
Really?
I told you it flipped.
He keeps telling me this crazy thing. My laser thing has got a motor in it. That's crazy talk.
That's exactly. It's the same way that a laser printer works. It's got an octagonal, rotational prism or mirror, depending on
that laser pointer thing that you got.
That wide and that long has got a motor in it.
The one that you got.
It doesn't make a noise.
You actually can hear it. It makes a noise, but it works differently than that one because this one doesn't have.
This one does not have a rotational mirror in it.
Nope.
Yeah.
So anyway, these are all my renditions of this plate.
Yeah, you've got several different designs.
And I finally, well,
yes.
Design
is
advice.
design in quotes.
It's more like evolution.
The plans are top secret.
It's an evolution.
Stored in a safe somewhere.
So I finally got to the 7th evolution of this thing, and even then it wasn't exactly right. So I cut out one of the little stands, but it worked. It was. And then, the wires were hanging down over the side, and I'm like, I don't like that. I will try something else. So I redid it, and I moved this where it actually needed to be, and I put a thing there thinking that if it bounced a little bit, it would help it. And that's in the wrong spot. It needed to be down here. And then I put a hole there, which is actually off a little bit too if you look, but it's close enough that I don't care. But yes, this is several different
iterations
things.
This is a freehand design.
Exactly.
It's some of it is freehand, but I did actually use a major. It just looked wrong on the screen.
Different units.
Yeah, it just didn't, and it never came out the way.
This sounds like the Hubble telescope designers.
Pass that sucker around.
Well, you guys may or may not have been to the dentist lately, but I was there this afternoon, and they used a short wavelength scanner and scanned my teeth.
Yeah. Instead of an X-ray?
No analog impression, no real impression. And they email these off, and they are manufactured from the digital image.
Yeah, I had a crown a couple of weeks ago, and they did the same thing, except they made the crown right in the dentist office.
Yeah.
They've got a little
CNC
machiner there that machines this thing down.
Like a little 3-axis mill.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
The only thing is you got to sit there for an hour while they carve the thing out.
Well,
you can pass that thing around.
Today, I said, where is the machine, the old machine that you had like 6 months ago. She goes, "Oh, that's a dinosaur." So they've got a second generation digital optical scanner.
That's very impressive.
Well, that's okay. I just popped the wheels off and let it sit on the motors.
I'm just grateful that the dentist doesn't go through that sort of iteration.
Yeah, right.
The dentist probably
Get it
actually
right.
knows what they're doing. I am not a 3D design person.
Your jaw would get out of it.
Well, my kid needs to pay his tuition again. We'll take another cut on this.
Yeah, exactly.
This line right here, the original test code that I had a 3 there instead of a 2, and I think in the original it should have been a 2 as well, and I think that is why I wasn't reading as far as the laser said.
Towards Mike's jugular. The light's right here.
So you were taking the wrong digit off the string.
Yeah, I think I think that's exactly what I was doing, but I didn't realize it until I got here, and I'm like, why is this? I wanted to go 20 inches at full speed, or over 20 inches, and it was going half speed at 20 inches, and I'm like, something ain't right. So I think that's exactly what I did.
So this should be this way and not that way.
Well, it goes back and forth.
There is the spin in place kind of code.
This one was coming down, this was like locked in position.
And
then this got cattywampus.
Yeah.
This is my...
Are those stepper motors?
No.
They're just ordinary...
DC motors, yeah.
Brushless DC.
This is my wonderful how to make the NeoPixels light up in the order you want them to light up without having a whole bunch of NeoPixel code sitting there.
Yeah.
That was a little, that was fun. They're actually backwards, because Pixel 0 is on top instead of on the bottom, and the red light one needed to be on the bottom.
Now, are those brushless motors or brushed motors?
They're cheap DC motors, so they're
Probably brushed.
Yeah.
They're probably brushed.
Okay.
They're the cheapest.
They're using the pulse width modulation on.
Yeah.
Well, with this camera sitting right here in front of me, I have a question for the group that doesn't relate to the robot. I apologize for interrupting. One of the things that I looked at was not just an app for an Android, but being able to run an Android app on a PC. And there is what's called BlueStacks that allows you to do that. But I haven't been able to successfully do that. Has anybody here had luck running an Android app on a PC?
My Chromebook will run them, but no, I've never even tried to run them.
Is this a camera that you got in the bargain bin?
Well, it wasn't a bargain bin. They had a whole bin of them.
So did you go over to Home Depot?
The last one.
Leroy got the last one.
It actually was $17.
How much was it?
It was 17.
Really? They must have upped the price then.
Still, is that a good deal at $17?
Did you ask for your military discount?
There's none left.
Oh no.
There you go. Good.
Maybe I should go back and complain.
Well, possibly.
I wasn't that. I mean,
when you get
a couple of
how many
dollars,
more was left?
it still was a good deal for that.
Yeah, but Lowe's and Home Depot both offer 10%.
Really? I did not know that. I will have to remember that.
I'm going to say this will be indelibly.
I will remember that from now on. Actually, I've found that camera will actually show up on your computer as a drive. You can actually do that.
Oh, how'd you do that?
I forget. I plugged it in.
Get back all those routers. You can't have any of that trash.
I plugged it in, and I think I hit the up arrow or maybe the menu button, and it said use as a USB device or not.
Say yes.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
Yeah,
And
try it.
the app.
Was that in Linux or was that in Windows?
It was in Linux, but it showed up as just a generic mass media device, so it should work in Windows too. The app, if you looking at the pictures that it's taken or the video, if you hold the picture down and then release, it will give you a menu item and you can actually download them to your phone. Now,
the instructions are incredibly small in print, but they're not complete.
The instructions say nothing about doing any of it, but the video took forever to transfer, so it was still better to plug it into the computer and do
Drive
it.
home to Colorado, plug it in.
But still, you can do it to the phone if you really need to.
Thank you for pardon me for my interruption.
But there was something else that it did too that I thought, I think it's all in Chinese, so I have no idea, but I think you could actually set that up as a router to route other devices.
Well, I know that it has its own IP address.
Yeah, but it actually, do I have pictures of it? This is way off topic. It actually has settings where you could set Wi-Fi and all kinds of stuff, but it's all done in Chinese.
So you find somebody who can read Chinese.
That's the camera. Right there. I think you can have it actually turn into an access point for.
Okay, because that looks different than what I get on mine. I'm not getting the.
Well, that's because you probably didn't explore further into what it was.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
See,
I can't read that Chinese over the.
I have no idea what it's saying, but it looks very, very much like setting it up like a router.
Okay. Now, how did you get the address up there at the top?
Through playing around. I've got.
They just do a scan.
Yeah, I've got a
Map
network
scan.
scanner on my phone.
Okay.
Access point. Mode.
So if anybody can read Chinese. That's what, it's actually got 4 ports open. 80, 80, 80, and 80, 80, 81. And 80, 81, I can't get it to do anything. I'm guessing that's the command port. 80, 80, and 80 both give the router settings, which are all in Chinese. And I don't see anything on there that says turn it into English.
Click on the 3 dots in the upper right.
Well, that's not live. That's a
It's
picture.
English.
I'll
It's a
click it,
screenshot.
it won't do
This is
anything.
not live.
Send a screenshot of the app.
This is simply a screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll click it, it won't do anything.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Far from.
I confused him. He got confused. It's all right.
Okay, now that's a screenshot of what program?
Well, that's Google, the Chrome browser on the phone.
On the phone, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so those three dots
This
won't
is a
do
browser
anything
view,
anyway.
right?
That would be,
This is a view from a browser.
yeah.
It's just an address in the network.
This.
And the camera serves this.
Yep.
This
The
image.
camera serves it. But I think that camera's capable of doing a whole lot more than.
Than what, well, certainly more than what I've had.
And for $17,
Oh.
for $15, it's a good deal.
Your lens protector's still on the lens.
Yeah, I don't care.
Could be a little foggy.
I did pull the lens protector off of the one on the
Case.
On the case.
So, this is what that's showing up as. And you're seeing that.
Let me say you wait for it to
Do you
take.
see?
No, I don't need to see it. Let me go. Yeah, no. So it's 192. Dot 168. Dot 1. Dot. No. Dot 25.1.
25.1.
Yeah, private IP address, router.
And then you.
It's a
I'm guessing that
non-routable
says
address.
admin or username and password. So I type in admin and I hit enter. And I hit enter again and I get to the settings. There's not a password on
No
it.
password.
So what was that camera originally designed for?
It's
I
a.
mean, to be at Home Depot.
They had it out in the middle of
It's a fake. It's a fake GoPro, and it's just a sales item for them to
Oh, okay.
sell, make more money.
yeah. They sell a variety of crap, for want of a better term. It's not hardware at all. And I just have stumbled across it as I was walking down the aisle. I saw there's a big display of it.
And apparently it's made by South Silicon Valley, as opposed to
South Korea, Silicon Valley.
I'm guessing, or Chinese Silicon Valley.
Did you get the reason why the price difference was your military discount that you got?
Apparently.
I just figured it was because it was the last one there, and they decided that they wanted to up the price.
Well, there wasn't a big carton of them.
Nope. And the first when I walked in the door and I walked right past it, didn't even see it. Came back out and I was about ready to leave because I figured that they were gone. There was one sitting just right next to the checkout, and I'm like, okay.
Well, they may have changed the price too. My memory is not good for 2 weeks from now.
I'm not. It's not like I can, couple of bucks. All right, back to the robot. Anybody else got robot type stuff because we got sidetracked?
You mentioned a part on that code you changed, 0 and 2, 0 and 3.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Okay. So the laser sensor sends a string of characters down, as a string, not as anything useful for Arduino. And I brought the data sheet this time so I could actually look. So right here, this is the distance reading. So it's reading, it sends it down as 12 point whatever m comma 0079. The 0079 is its confidency level of the accuracy level. So a smaller number is a good thing for that. But what you have to do to make it useful is you have to convert the string into a float or an integer or something. So basically all this code here says, well, this code here gets the signal strength and turns it into
as an alpha string.
As in, yes. So that part of it turns the signal strength into an integer, so that we can look and say, okay, it's under 800, it's a good reading, or it's over 800, it's a bad reading. And 800 was completely arbitrary. I found it, 800 worked best here. Somewhere else, that number is going to definitely change. So that's the first part. I grabbed that. The second part of it is to actually get the distance in meters. And that's what this little section of code does. And we are looking at the m, the index of m. So I'm basically saying drop everything m and past. So I'm leaving myself with
just the distance.
Just the distance.
Yeah, the first part of the string.
And then I'm saying that I just want just the integer part of the string, which is the 0 to 2. And then I turn it into an array, and then I turn it into a float, and then everybody's happy. And then later on...
Wait a minute, the 0 to 2, is that the characters in the string? Okay.
Yeah. And the decimal gets dropped. But see, I was having that go to 3, and I think that was my mistake, because when I changed it to 2, it actually seemed to work. And a lot of this here, see, all these little numbers, this was me trying to figure out what the heck it was actually doing. Like, okay, what the heck are you actually doing? And then, of course, I put in some hints here that if you want it to be in meters for whatever reason, you could just leave it as meters. This converts it to inches. That converts it to centimeters. That would convert it to feet. But if it's already in meters. If you wanted to leave it as meters, you could, and then you could just change your distance numbers down here. Actually, you would change your distance numbers
in the definitions at the beginning.
In the definitions in the beginning.
Okay.
So there's my threshold. 800 is, like I said, seemed to work pretty good for here. Actually, it seemed to work pretty good at the house too. But when the demo from last week, I had the threshold set down at 200, and you saw it was stuttery and jittery and everything. I bumped it up to 800, and it seems like it's still a little jittery here and there, but it seemed like it smoothed it out a lot.
You have a distance to go back, right? Under 10 inches.
Under 10 inches?
What? Because I saw sometimes that you go too close, it goes backward, right?
Right. So one of the that's one of the things that I did actually change was I added another
distance to go back.
distance to it, and what this is it's an error distance.
Mhm.
So if it errors out for whatever reason, it gets a bad reading or whatever, it will back up and it will try again. And the reason I did that is because when it updates those neopixels, it's slow, and if it's still moving, it might not get a good reading while it's updating the neopixels. So I was trying to keep it from actually hitting something, but it's still. But that's what that case does. If it not only does it do it if it errors out, but if it actually has a 0 reading, because it may not error out, it may still get a good reading at 0. So at 0, I even have it back up. So I know 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's all done right through there though, so I guess I'm shutting off because it's 5 minutes.
Is this posted on your